Okay, so whenever I have guests on my show, I would say like 9 out of 10 of them I know personally, and like 1 out of 10, I'm like, oh, I'm just a big fan and I haven't met them. Well, the 1 out of 10 is happening right now. Dr. Chip Dodd is with us today, and I'm having him on today because I read his book, Voice of the Heart, and it is phenomenal. And I used some of this stuff and actually an interview I did on the phone. I guess we technically met on the phone.
That's right.
A few months
About
ago.
A year ago or so? Yeah.
Yes, for my new book, talking about emotions. And your book, Voice of the Heart, is incredible.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. And so you walk through the 8 core emotions that everyone has.
Right.
And I love this book because I don't think a lot of people have the language or even know that these emotions exist. So
yes.
Just let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So what are the 8 emotions?
Yeah, this book
things?
came out some years ago, actually. And the book says, and biblically, and neuroscience now too, says that you and I are created as emotional and spiritual creatures, created to live fully. But we can't live fully unless we're living fully in relationship. And the language of relationship is the language of the heart. So, and what's amazing is it became really clear, in the book of Genesis, our problem is, and I guess always will be, that when it's time to cry out, our expertise is actually in hiding out. And Adam said, I was afraid, so I hid. And in the crying out, relationship began again. And it turns out that, and this is a bit long, but the brain actually develops from the back to the front. We have the brain stem, which is reactivity. It's what lizards do. It's hot, it's cold, there's a fly, kind of thing.
The lizard brain.
Yeah,
I've
the
heard
lizard
that,
brain. Yes, you know exactly, the lizard
Yeah.
brain. And then we have this thing called the limbic system. And the limbic system is really the heart. It's the emotional, relational, connection, attachment, dreamer, probably the seat of the Imago Dei. It is the place from which we're created to connect. And it is the brain that's always asking a question like, do you care? Are you with me? Do I belong? Do I matter? And then the frontal lobe develops over a period of 20 years. It's the executive functioning. It's the thinking brain. Well, it turns out that the thinking brain, the main purpose of the thinking brain is to be able to articulate what's happening in our hearts. And yet we live in a world that is anti-vulnerability, anti-neediness, anti-transparency, though we talk about it a lot.
Right.
But
It's so authentic.
Yeah, and how can we do it unless we're telling the truth? And it turns out that the truth about us human beings is that we are emotional creatures too. And we grow up losing the language of birth. And we were born with 8 core feelings: sadness, hurt, fear, loneliness, anger, which a lot of people don't understand. And then we have healthy shame, guilt, thank God, and then gladness. But the feelings, and everybody has asked me with these 8 feelings, how come there are 7 bad ones?
I know, I said that right before. I was like, walk through that myth.
Yeah, shame, guilt, and glad, that's
right.
right.
Yeah, you hear them all and you're like, okay, gladness, that's good. Yeah,
like,
but everything seems bad.
Well, it turns out that all the feelings are good, just like they're organs of the body. I mean, your lungs are not bad or good, they're good. And the more you attend to your lungs, the more they can do for you. Even the bladder is good. I mean, if you can't sense your bladder, well, you know the rest of the story.
You're my 2-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. They go right ahead.
Or I should say my 8-month-old. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with feelings, unless we are sensitive to them and learn how to use them, they become our enemy, which is astounding. So each feeling is good because God has graciously given us 8 tools to be able to live fully in a tragic place.
Yes.
And since we're created for relationship, these are the relational tools that put us in awareness of each other, connect us to each other.
So why do you think we're a culture that is so scared to even tap into emotion?
Well, I think we have the world is a survival-oriented place. And in the United States, we are self-sufficiency, work performance, you're only as good as your last performance. We worship independence. We worship reality, not letting reality get to you. We sacrifice the truth of how we're created to be realistic. And we seek power over having to be vulnerable. So we kind of tilt over to the
Yes.
self-sufficient, climb the ladder of success.
That's right. That's right. And totally ignore everything going inside,
Yeah.
and not even. And I think after years and years, not even knowing how to tap into it. And
Yes.
so I think for you guys doing the work to actually get there, you just live this more holistic life and holistic relationships with your marriage and your kids and your
Absolutely.
coworkers. I
Yeah.
mean, everything so much.
Yeah.
So let's dive into fear for a little bit. That's
Yeah.
like the one. That's the one emotion I really dove in with you
Yeah.
for my new book, and
Yeah.
I think it's huge. I think it dictates so much of our life, including why we handle money the way we do,
Yes.
different money fears. But talk through why fear is a good thing.
Yes.
Healthy fear.
Yeah.
I mean, all of
And
it.
by the way, your book, I thank you for having me here. And I made sure I read your book. It's a wonderful book.
And he got the advanced copy, and he's like,
Yeah.
I actually read your book. I was like,
Yeah.
you read my book?
Yeah. So get this book. It's profound, practical, witty. It's a wonderful
very
book.
kind.
It's
That's
deep
very
in its
kind.
proper ways and yet very understandable and ready.
Thank you.
Fear. 18 inches below our forehead is the heart. And we practice doing everything we can to stay away from our heads and hearts being connected. And if our hearts aren't connected to living, we miss life, right? And it turns out that fear, we've been given fear as a feeling that allows us to acknowledge being in danger. So when I'm afraid, I'm actually saying life's happening in a way that's scary. Life's happening in a way I don't like. I'm anticipating something happening negative in me, to me, against me. So fear is a cry-out feeling that allows us to ask for help. And if we're not good at fear, if we're not good at being sensitive to using our brains to express what's happening in us, then anxiety takes over. So anxiety, except when a bear's in the room or a tiger's in the room, anxiety is actually an indication, a physiological indication that we're not dealing with owning our fear. So fear and anxiety are different. Anxiety is physiological and mental. And the beauty is that fear is a feeling that allows us to hope. So if you're in danger and you cry out, automatically you're using how God created you. You're hoping that there's a solution to this
That's good. I
predicament.
have that. Yeah.
And what's amazing is the way the voice of the heart talks, feelings lead us to their gifts. I don't do feelings just for the sake of feelings. I don't like the feelings. I don't like fear or sadness or hurt. But what they give us, they're tools that give us results. So fear leads to I hope something, and I cry out, I risk something, and that lets us develop a thing called faith. So fear is actually the birthplace of faith.
It's so
isn't it amazing?
It is. Well, and that's what takes down the scariness and actually gives you the tools to break down, right? Because some people just kind of get in fear and it's just, oh. But no, to say, okay, to acknowledge, no, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm asking for help. And then you seek the answer and it helps you. And that's in every area, you guys. I mean, whether it's fear, I automatically think like personal safety, right? Like there's that. But then the fear of, oh my gosh, my marriage is struggling
Yes.
or my kids are so out of control, or people with older kids, right?
Yes.
A kid goes astray, and whatever it is, that fear that rises up, and being able to ask for help, gather that wisdom, any area of life, money, all of it. Okay, I want to talk through shame because it's clicking in our interview right now, and I want to go text my husband because he sent me. He was like, Rachel, you have to listen to this because you did a talk on good shame versus bad shame.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about shame. I love to
Shame
talk
is
about
good.
shame. There are a lot of people who are doing a lot of shame teaching now, and
They
they
are,
don't
yeah.
include healthy shame.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and
so
I
good.
said healthy shame's essential because healthy shame literally is the essence of a human being. It's amazing how you're born literally looking, and you can't think yet, you can't talk, but you're born emotionally and spiritually looking for who's looking for you. We're so created for connection.
And attachment, yeah.
We're so created to find fulfillment in relationship. So healthy shame is the dependency feeling. It's the awareness that I'm created for relationship. And healthy shame's amazing because you have some answers and I have some answers. So if we turn that into how to have a community, it's like you've got green peas, I've got potatoes, you've got beef, you've got carrots, you've got water, you've got a pot, you've got a fire, you've got a match, you've got wood, and somebody has a spoon and a few bowls. Those are answers. It's what you bring into life to do, to live, to develop in you. And so before you know it, we have together what we never could have had apart. We have a stew. We have a community. So Toxic shame is when we become contemptuous towards ourselves for being needy, for not having all the answers, for making mistakes, for being in need, and ultimately for not being God. I should have known this. I should have known that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't need this. I shouldn't want that. And so toxic shame is taught. So something's wrong with me for being human.
Yes.
Something's
yes.
wrong with me for being in need.
I feel crazy. You know, those kind of those statements.
Yep.
Yes. And I
Yep.
do that to myself. I do.
Yeah.
I'll go through the day and I'm like, oh, Rachel, that's crazy. Why are you thinking that? And I'm like, no. And I catch myself. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, why am I even thinking? No. What? Like, I have to walk myself through it.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's
Yes.
so healthy. Okay. So one thing I learned from your book that was huge for me is that anger is one of the only emotions that's always attached to another.
Yes, it's true.
Okay, so when I think it's huge. So like when the anger, because I'll get mad or angry, I'm just like, and I'm like, no, what am I really feeling? And I have to stop and pinpoint.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm fearful of X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
or that made me so sad that you made me mad, but actually I'm sad because the X, Y, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But I think that's fascinating.
It is. Anger is the most vulnerable feeling of all the feelings. It exposes our capacity to be wounded more than loneliness or sadness or hurt, okay? Because anger shows what matters to us. And the gift of anger is passion, a willingness to be in pain for something that matters more than pain. And that's how people get out of debt. It's not fear ultimately, it's passion.
Yeah.
I'll do what it takes to get to this place.
Yeah.
But when we bury our anger, we're burying our capacity to tell the truth about ourselves completely. When we can no longer hunger and thirst and yearn and long and want and hope and wish and dream, we're not alive.
Yeah.
So anger, we really do need
great.
to wake up to becoming free, to have the powerful vulnerability of admitting that I'm a hungry creature created to live fully. And the problem, though, I can't live fully unless I'm doing so in relationship. And money can't fix it. And there's not enough performance to make me whole.
No.
I can't become independent enough. I can't remove myself from,
Yeah.
the pain of life. So I got to learn how to live the pain of life.
Yeah.
You're on earth, and there's no cure for that except
Yeah.
learning how to live it.
Yes. Oh.
In fact, you said even in your book, and the Lion King, you used Lion King.
Yeah.
And Rafiki said you can run from it,
Yes.
or you can learn from it.
Yes.
So, and learning from it means coming back to being human again.
That's right.
And asking ourselves the hard questions about everything.
What it is, yeah. So when it comes to money management, our emotions are so tied in very deeply on how we manage money, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's our spending, our giving, our saving. So kind of talk to me through those three emotions. We talked about fear, we talked about shame and anger. How do you see those play out when it comes to managing money?
So a lot of ways, money is just like alcohol, drugs. It can be used to get away from dealing with life on life's terms. It can be used to anesthetize fear. So we try to medicate avoidance of these feelings. So money is an emotional issue.
Yeah.
A way we can either hide our feelings or we can deal with our feelings and manage money properly. Because it's not something that's going to take us away from life. It's something that can allow us to live life fully if we acknowledge what it is. It's a tool.
And that's such a key point that it's not always the outgo of money, right? Because I'm a spender
Yeah.
naturally. So I naturally always think,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, if I were to medicate with money, it would be to spend.
Yeah.
But others, it's the hoarding mentality.
Oh, yeah.
If I can just keep, and keep everything close, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
And that feeling of security does not end up
Yeah.
there. It can help you with that foundation, get an emergency fund, all the wise
Yeah.
things we talk about,
Yeah.
for sure. But ultimately, that's not gonna satisfy that core emotion.
Absolutely. And even related to anger that you said, a person cannot live debt-free without passion. And they can't live generously without passion. They have to be trusting something
part
bigger
of
than
it.
money
Yeah.
to be generous.
That's it.
You know?
Well, you guys, I hope this interview shows you the depth of that you can the depth of life, but it can take a lot of work. It can be scary. It's not always fun digging into the feelings. But once you get in that practice, your relationships just explode. I mean, so much richer. It's an incredible way to live. So again, I kept saying it, but Voice of the Heart, it's a must. It's a must. And then I'm stealing this one
got
because
it.
it's your new one came out yesterday. Hope in the Age of Addiction. Guys, Amazon it, get a copy. And Dr. Chip Dodd, thank you for
Thank
being
you,
on.
Rachel. It's
So
great to
appreciate
meet
all
you.
your wisdom. Incredible. Again, you guys, check out his new book.
Thank you so much.